Another hill town that we visited in the Tuscany area was Lucca. This is another hill town that was built with defensive purposes in mind. You can tell as you roam around through Tuscany that a lot of these towns that are on the hills have amazing views of the area around them, and that's not accidental. Like many cities in the Tuscany area, Lucca was founded by the Etruscans, although there is actually evidence of a Ligurian settlement prior to the Etruscans even being here. It later on became a Roman colony in 180 BC. This is the entrance to the city. Pretty fancy, huh? Lucca enjoyed the privilege of coining its own money and remained pretty independent of Florence, even though they were the strongest power in Tuscany at the time. Lucca prospered as a center of textile industries, the silk trade, and banking. The San Frediano Basilica is a Romanesque church, and believe it or not, it was the church of an Irish bishop. In the first half of the 6th century, he had a church built on this spot dedicated to St. Vincent, a martyr from Spain. It began to acquire its current shape and appearance in the 12th century. In 1805, Lucca was conquered by Napoleon, who installed his sister Elijah, if I'm saying it correctly, as a Queen of Etruria. Actually, her christened name was Maria Anna, but she later on adopted the name of either Alyssa or Elijah. I'm not sure how it's pronounced. Either way, her name was McGill. She called herself Lil, but everyone knew her as Nancy. She wasn't actually very well liked, and she tore down a Roman amphitheater in the center of town to build this central marketing area, and it's actually still called the Piazza Antitetro, and that's also why this piazza is round. There are still ancient ruins and renovations as well as excavations still going on in Lucca. Lucca also had or has their tower houses, and these are actual places where people lived. These weren't apartments or fortifications, but they were actual houses that people, especially the merchants, had built for protection, kept them away from the riffraff down in the street, and it also gave them great views of what was going on. This is San Giusto. This one's a little easier to pronounce, but it's built over a pre-existing church that dates to the second half of the 12th century. This is the Santa Maria Cointer Orlandinini, something along that line. These are a mouthful. St. Michael in Forio is a Roman Catholic basilica dedicated to the Archangel Michael, and it's built over an ancient Roman forum. Until 1370, it was actually the seat of the Consigliere Maggiore, the commune's most important assembly. That is not a statue. Besides having a lot to see, if you have the time, you can rent bikes and ride on top of those walls that go around the city. However, we chose to just shop and take pictures. As we were in one of the shops, I noticed that two of the workers were watching me, and I thought I was standing in a wrong area or doing something wrong. I wasn't sure if it was just a basic mistrust of tourists, so I sort of kept moving around just to kind of let them feel that I wasn't about to swipe something. Finally, one of them came up to me and asked if I was Roberto Benigni. Of course, he asked me in Italian, and when I said non parlo Italiano, he realized I was not Roberto. Evidently, a movie was being shot in the town at the time, and he thought I was the director, Roberto Benigni. Well, I'm not. These walls were built to defend the city against the Florentines back when the Medicis were expanding their empire. However, they never actually faced a battle.